Okay guys, just picking up where we left off there. I ran into a friend of mine and talking about some camping and some kayaking he's gonna do, and we're talking about getting together for a kayak trip, so that was cool. So motivation, so it's got to be good. Make it good. You know, recovery is a chance to like really grab life by the horns, man. Like you got nothing holding you back now. You know, addiction is like a tether and a chain, and you're like chained to the ground, man. And you can't fly, you can't run free. Addiction is like that, but when you pull that sucker up and break free from that addiction, you know, like, it's time to fly, it's time to run, it's time to live life. So motivation, make it good. Dream a little. Don't be afraid to dream. Like we put ourselves in these boxes, like, oh, I can't do that because of this, and man, I've screwed up too many times, and my calling is gone because of all the times I've screwed up. You know, like that's, like, get that out of your head. Recovery is a do-over, man. It's like it's a chance to, you know, begin to really live and figure out how to live. In my prayer time this morning, you know, a prayer that I prayed and I've prayed before is God, show me how to live a genuine and true life. You know, like, it's a big deal. Like, we want to live lives that are genuine and true, and we're able to now that we're in recovery, right? I mean, we're no longer tethered to the ground. And I don't think that we need to be sober for 15 years or 10 years, or even, you know, 5 years, before we can really begin to live and not just exist. You know, get to living, man. Like, don't just exist. And by the way, when I'm saying this stuff, I'm saying it to myself too. There's days where I feel like, man, I'm doing really well, I'm really living, but there's also days when I revert, man, and I go back to just existing. Like, that's just being human. If anybody says otherwise, they're full of it. Don't believe them. Like, this is a just for today kind of a thing. I can live it up today and go back to being a curmudgeon tomorrow. Recovery is an opportunity for us to truly live and find the meaning of, you know, authentic and true living. The good stuff. You know, no longer chained, no longer tethered, but running free, man. You know, it's so motivation. You know, figure out what's going to be good enough where when you say, okay, I'm triggered here, I'm craving, I'm going to maybe go, I'm considering going back to the old ways. Or, so that's option A. Option B is, I'm going to continue in the path of recovery because you fill in the blank of motivation. We have to find and begin to live a life that's worth it to not go out and use again because we're going to lose it. Find something worth it. It's probably not money. It's probably not a new car. If it is, good for you. That's fine. It probably has to do with authentic and genuine, real stuff. That's what we're after here, you know? That's the good stuff. That's the stuff when we're laying down, dying in our deathbeds someday hopefully a long ways in the future, we're going to look back and we're going to say, yeah, I did the whole, I overcame my demons. I lived an authentic, genuine, true life. And I didn't let my addiction hold me back. So, and then you can rest easy then. It's like I did it, you know, I lived. I didn't just exist. So join me on this journey, guys. Post some comments of, you know, how you're doing in this, and any thoughts or ideas for other folks, you know, like in terms of motivation, in terms of really living. We're in this together, you know. The view from the parking lot, it's also the church I go to. Incredible church. It's fabulous, but I'm going to show you the view from here. I don't know if you can really see it the best from here, but it's just awe-inspiring. Just the view. It's the hills, and it's country and beauty and birds singing, and it's a beautiful day, and the sky's the limit, man. So whatever you got to do to get your motivation to a place where it's good enough to keep you on track, it's good enough where you're like, no, I don't want to go back to using because of you fill in the blank. That's motivation. And by the way, motivation is the fuel that keeps recovery going. In all the years I worked in addictions and worked in recovery and worked my own recovery program, I've delineated it down to motivation is the fuel. It is the fuel. I don't know of any other fuel. I mean, yes, there are other additives and other things like that, but motivation is it's the fuel that keeps it going. You have to have fuel to keep the recovery process going, to keep it fresh. You can't get bored and stall out. You know, you got to keep things fresh. Whatever that is for you, whatever your motivation is for you, that's going to keep it going. Figure it out. Dream big, live large. Don't give up. And I don't know what else to say about it, man. You know, don't give up. Go get away by yourself somewhere, sit down, and think long and hard about what's in this for you. What can you have in your life if you will just say no to the addiction? What's in it for you? And once you answer that, and make it worthwhile, then we're going to be going places, okay? Love you guys. By the way, I'm coming out with a book soon. I'm taking next week off. Writing a book called Conquering Everest. It's a book about addiction, recovery. It hits on some just very simple, straightforward points about the recovery process and how you don't need to be a rocket scientist to do it. Anybody can do it. In fact, the rocket scientists are going to have a harder time with it than the rest of us. So this is not, you don't have to be Albert Einstein to get recovery. You just have to, you have to keep it simple, man. And so find out what's going to be motivation for you. Stick it in your mind and clamp it in there, and keep it at the forefront of your mind as you're doing this. Okay. We'll chat later. See ya.